I kind of want to watch this Blue Jay video, but it's a bit long. It's historical slang. Can I partake in a history video? It's been a while since I watched one.
Slang, idioms, jargon. The words we choose to hurl at each other's faces are just as much of a cultural fingerprint as the clothes we wear or the games we play. This one's my favorite. We've all had that one friend who orders at Mexican restaurants like, yes, I'll have the enchilada y burrito con pollo, por favor. So you call them a Kirby sucking club penguin iPad kid.
Wow.
Or something along those lines. But what if you're growing tired of the same old curses, slurs, and TikTok brain rot and crave a more refined lexicon to voraciously vivify vexatiously vulgar tongues? Well, worry not, my chitty-faced chuckaboos, for in today's Circumbendibus, I'm gonna fill that knowledge box with enough slang, slurs, and silly syllables to spifflicate and higgledy-piggledy-clapperclaw some bottle-headed
this would have been good for a slur Sunday. Hello, Blue Jay. Be cautious using the words you learned today, but go crazy in my Discord.
Okay. I'm a fan of exploiting the words you use on public platforms to manipulate the masses. But as much as I love to gaslight, no one excels in weaponizing the silver tongue more than politicians. Do you ever find yourself listening to an elected official and get confused by the words they use? I wonder what he means by that. Well, luckily for you, understanding the bias and reliability in the words used by important people has never been easier than with Ground News. Ground News is a website and app designed to give you an easier way to read the news. They gather related articles from around the world in one place, and every story comes with a visual breakdown of political bias, factuality, and ownership to show how different outlets cover the same story, all with ratings backed by 3 independent organizations. For example, take the recent FBI report that showed violent crime has dropped in the United States.
Wow, guys, we're down 3%. Let's fucking go.
% off their 40% today. 4. And while that should mean we've achieved incredible levels of information availability, education, and human connection, what it really means is that there's just that many more people you need to shit talk in in-game lobbies. With the comfort of anonymity granted to us by our favorite little TikTok bricks, comment sections and threads across the internet have evolved into a constant battle of wits.
Why is Hassan in the corner?
Steal quotes from obscure indie films
Yo, Benji,
like
thanks
The
for 6 months.
Bride or V for Vendetta and call it a day. A true master of the silver tongue must engage in more rigorous and refined study to fully weaponize a keen intellect.
What do you say?
I'm talking, of course, about Fight Club, but in all seriousness, to really level up your yapping abilities, we need to whip out the history
I wanted to
books,
play it
study
alone,
the wise words of our
Yo, Armchair,
ancestors,
thanks for the 20 gift subs.
Non-racist ones, at least. And to help stencil your name onto the list of eccentric conversationalists and/or an FBI watch list, I've taken it upon myself to analyze the mountain of obsolete slang and idioms to condense it down to some that I think truly shine. So, naturally, 95% of it comes from poor 18th century British people. And speaking of, what better way to learn the words of yesteryear than a little bit of immersion therapy? Let's say you're walking down the streets of downtown Atlanta after a long night of drinking when you hear rustling coming from the alley beside you. You let out a sigh as you get ready to hand over your decoy phone and wallet because it's Atlanta when you see a magical gnome waddle out of the shadows and introduce himself as Dasher in an adorable French accent. Brimming with glee, you bend over to hear his words of wisdom when,
what the fuck is going on?
You forgot one crucial detail. You're still in Atlanta, and the gnome probably flips out a switchblade and stabs you in the liver, casting a spell that sends you back in time to 18th century England, but only after magically draining your 401k. After coming to, you find yourself lying in the dirt of a London dockyard, bleeding profusely from the gut. But hey, you're in Neptune, thanks for the resub. Having an open wound is pretty much par for the course here. Luckily for you, you catch the eye of a sweet-looking older lady who rushes up and asks you what happened. Now, given the crazy fiasco you just went through, you might say, after a bender, this Frenchified Dasher took a flourish with their magical gnome tool and tried to ice me after casting up my account. You then watch as her amiable face turns to one of terror as she gasps and responds,
"It's a good game."
Now, you're not quite sure what she means, but noting that horrified look on her face and the magical sounding words she used, you assume she's heard tales of these fantasy gnome scenarios before, and respond with, "That's right." The old lady's eyes then widen even more before she quickly scurries off, leading you to believe that she's finding you some help. Now that you're waiting here wondering just how many pints of blood the human body has and whether or not you actually saw a gnome or just Danny DeVito, it's the perfect time to let you know that the lady of the past doesn't perfectly align with the definitions of today. So even though you thought you were able to convey the mythical quackery you just experienced, what you actually said was you paid a 6 pence to a flashy hooker with venereal disease for a quickie who turned out to have magical male genitalia and attempted to fart on you after you vomited. To which, in shock, the lady asked to clarify, a penis? To which you said, that's right. So you shouldn't be too surprised when you see the old lady return with a group of big, strong, angry men with sticks.
Oh no, they're gonna beat his ass.
This situation is what we'd refer to as an uh-oh spaghettios, or as these people would say, a cock-a-fuego, or as your mom would say, a Tuesday night. Sobbing more tears than Kanye's PR manager, you skedaddle skedoodle before you're made a fool when you lock eyes onto a tavern and figure, hey, if you're gonna be wounded, might as well self-medicate. But before you could partake in the most classic of British pastimes, you bump into a large mustachioed man.
Oh no, here we go again.
Son. Now, I see what you're off to, but before you go looking for hard seas getting a hickey, how about you reach for me bag o' mystery? What's in there? Oh, I think you know, son. Come now, grab me sausage before you get clammed. Whoa, calm down there, Eddie. This adorable little Eggman doppelganger isn't soliciting a handy on the threat of death. Clammed is actually slang for starved in these parts. He just doesn't want you to go hungry. But heart's ease and getting a hickey? Merely gin and getting tipsy, Eddie. And you better get used to the alcohol slang, as being a Brit in the 1700s, free time activities were pretty much limited to either go drink or go die, with true gamers looking for a combination of the two.
The illusion of choice.
Said was, before you go get tipsy
You're
off
gonna do
some
both.
gin, how about you buy a sausage? As a bag o' mystery was a rather whimsical way of pointing out how not even God knows what's stuffed into these intestine-lined sacks of flesh. Popularized in the 1850s, which I know we're currently in the 1700s.
Those do not look like
video, so you can all go
good
eat a bag of
sausages.
arborvitaes. This is exactly the kind of phrase I'd like to see make a
It
comeback
plagues
today,
5 months.
regardless of any potential problems.
They do
it
not.
might pose.
Those look
Just tap
fucking
that card
nasty.
here and your signature.
They literally called them bags
Two
of mystery.
my good sirs.
Ew.
Ah, what the? Is this a fucking hypodermic needle? A
Disgusting.
wizard I may be, but power have I not over the workings of conjuration sausagery. You know, I ought to sue you. Ooh, a mage always prepares runic protections from the mortal arts. What, a waiver? You son of a... Come on, Colin, let's get out of here. Colin.
Who's Colin?
Escaping from that vaguely threatening encounter, or as they say here, an average British interaction, you finally waltz your way into the tavern with your stomach thoroughly satisfied with meats of unknown origin and also still bleeding. But as you're walking through the door, a hand snaps shut on your arm. Brimming with fear, you turn towards who you assume to be the gang of angry men having finally caught up with you, but are relieved to see it's just a mere homeless man with a wild look in his eyes. Just a little crank, good sir. If I get candy, I promise I won't shoot the cat. Ah, good old crank. Finally, some street slang even a white boy like you can recognize. Well, obviously you don't want this crazy meth head to kill a cat.
I don't know where to put my camera for this video.
In this British fantasy land. Okay, just take it easy. Where can I get some meth around here? Uh-oh, he's looking pretty confused. Great, what did he actually say? I'm glad you asked. The term crank is a fascinating example of a word that has independently derived multiple slang definitions over the course of history, similar to how a minor fling is not only slang for a short-term casual relationship, but can also refer to Dr. Disrespect. While you and I today know crank as those funny little rocks we're pretty sure Aaron Rodgers smokes,
that was out of nowhere.
For gin and water. So what he actually said was, just a little gin and water, good sir. If I get drunk, I promise I won't throw up. This guy's not a homeless tweaker, Eddie. He's just British. Alright, I'll get you some gin. I'll give you some spanks. What? He'll give you some money. God damn it. As you're finally able to breach the entrance of the pub, you're met with quite the exquisite sight. This place is different from the modern day American bars that you're accustomed to, where you sit down at a sticky table next to that alcoholic that keeps saying, haha, must be a hole at the bottom of my glass, before grabbing his keys, and scour the menu for a drink that doesn't taste like straight piss, but isn't too tasty that your immature friend from high school calls you gay, all while seeing how many alcoholics you can convince or find the
Everyone
drive
should
home
just
for a
drink
taste of
things
power,
that actually taste good.
Playlist of Journey and or the Black Keys and literally nothing else.
Why are men not allowed to drink fruity
when
drinks?
On the road, that's not a hazard. That's just skill-based matchmaking. Anyway, the British taverns of old were more than just a place
they taste good sometimes.
Failure. They were the beating hearts of their local communities, a place for socializing,
yeah,
for business and political meetings.
Some good shit because it's gay as fuck.
Just let go and be themselves, so long as that wasn't gay or black.
Well, it's better it's a lot better to not have to drink something disgusting, okay? Because holy shit.
Cozy ambiance. It's within these very walls that centuries of culture have been molded, shaping the fabric of the society around you, including the very slang you're learning about today.
I'd rather be gay than drink beer. Same! Same!
Because even with all
actually,
the
beer's
trauma
okay
you've been
to
through,
me.
The spell of the British pub is already starting to work its magic on you. Despite all the stress, all the hostilities, and no mixed stab wounds, you're beginning to believe that, against all odds, things just might turn out alright. Strip me naked? and the magic is gone. What are you talking about? Come on, give us a diddle. What is happening? Just 2 more slang phrases for Jin.
Diddle is
Again,
Jin.
I can't stress this enough.
Strip me naked is Jin?
Oh, right. To strip you nakeds? You'll do what to me now? Wrong pronoun, wrong pronoun. Strip me nakeds. To go, please? Sure, coming right up. Oh, and be careful now. You're sitting right next to an admiral of the narrow seas. Oh, thank you for your service. That was slang, wasn't it? For a drunk who vomits into someone's lap, yes. Don't worry, lad. Voice Admiral of the Narrow Seas here to help clean you right up.
Okay.
What's so funny? It's just, I'm happy you're learning. I just feel like I'm being tortured. Oh, yes. But anyway, a vice admiral of the narrow seas was slang for a drunken man that pees under the table into his companion's shoes, which apparently was a common enough occurrence to warrant a full phrase. Covered in more blood, piss, and puke than a Megan Fox relationship, you await patiently as the bartender brings you your drinks.
Why?
2 stirrup cups for you, lad.
Why do men be doing things
drink,
like
given
that?
The guests who are taking their leave.
In the
Typically drink on
1700s.
horseback. So now you have some fun new lingo to use to feel like a little
That's
cowboy
our
the next time you're pulled over
ancestors.
for a
Actually, this is
DUI.
British.
Say, what's your name?
Wait, that's my
anybody?
ancestors!
Oh, I'm Eddie. Jackie?
Fuck!
No, it's Eddie. Oh, Max? Actually, it's Eddie. What the? You gotta be kidding me.
I'm a quarter British.
Oh, come on!
God
How many
damn
words
it.
do people have for gin? Quite the comical amount,
Men
actually.
only
In
want
fact,
one
one of my
thing.
primary sources,
It's
a
to piss
classical
in their
dictionary
friend's
of the vulgar
shoes
tongue by Francis
under the
Gross,
table.
has over 25 terms for the liquor. I was surprised at first until I realized the lexicon was originally published following a period known as the gin craze in Britain, where, due to some salty pillow fighting going on between England and France, French brandy was restricted, causing cheap gin to skyrocket in popularity amongst London's poor. So intense was this popularity that Parliament passed a whopping 5 major acts just trying to get people to chill with the bottle. I know this might sound rather crazy, but if you want to understand the gin craze today, all you have to do is watch reruns of Ellen. As you grab your stirrup cups to complete your side quest, you hear someone yell, "The launch is starting!" followed by the horrid screams emanating from a girl outside. Surely, you figure, the combination of a launch and woman in fear must mean Elon Musk is nearby. But as you open the door and mentally prepare for a 15-minute monologue of bullshit,
got
you find out that there
another
isn't an
zinger.
upcoming
Yo,
SpaceX
Scotter, thanks for
launch,
the Prime.
but a woman giving birth just outside. While you yet again misinterpreted the situation, luckily you can write this one out just as you would have if it was Elon that you'd come face to face with. Avoid physical contact, say ew that's gross, and advise them to stop having more kids. Rounding the corner with your drinks, you see a one-armed man crouching behind a barrel stand up and start approaching you. Careful now, Eddie. This sneaksby snacks having snaffler seeks to snaffle and snabble. And while you're busy laughing at what you assume to be a bit of amusing Dr. Seussian alliteration, a mean-spirited highwayman with large teeth comes up and mugs you before stabbing you to death. What? Are you serious? I don't know, maybe. What do you mean maybe? Well, it could also mean this is a sneaky horse thief looking to rifle through your things so he can steal a wig for his pet snail. Slang is complicated, man. I still don't know if skibbity is a noun or verb. Well, look who we have
I don't know either.
Even the slugabed
Does skibbity even mean anything?
A slugabed was a drone. Now, obviously, he doesn't mean the flying kind we're familiar with today.
I genuinely think it just doesn't mean anything.
But ironically, if you think about it,
Yeah.
slugabed is exactly what modern drones do too. You talking about the launch going on back there? Good for you, Eddie. Way to use the local lingo. Yeah, the loss is poisoned, all right.
It's
what?
a prefix to toilet. Oh, of course.
Child or pregnant.
I
should have
known.
Say she sprained her ankle to say the same thing. But as you just
sprained
experienced
her
yourself,
ankle means
using
she's
these
pregnant?
phrases today would undoubtedly lead to a lot of confusion. Jeremy, I think I sprained my ankle. You sure did. Congratulations, Jan. No, Jeremy. Oh God, I think I'm poisoned. Uh-oh, get poison control on the line. Please, for the love of God, use my phone. Oh, I get it. Let's see if it's blue or pink. I love gender reveals. Well, glad that she's not dying then. I wouldn't go that far. She's still giving birth outside a pub in a London alley. Pre-modern medicine. It's pretty much a coin flip whether or not she becomes a
Armchairs, thanks for the sub.
The beauty of life, right? Speaking of, let's see if you keep yours. Now, I'm sure you're wondering where me rammer is. I really don't want to know. He means his arm. Would I have ye know I lost it fighting off a 30-foot sea lawyer with me bare hands in the middle of the blind man's holiday. And I took way more from that bloody beast than he got from me. 2 excellent Excellent 18th century phrases, Eddie. A blind man's holiday is slang for the night or darkness, while a sea lawyer, as you may have guessed, is jargon for a shark.
A
One of my
sea
favorite
lawyer.
slangs, but also quite ridiculous, as none of these guys are smart enough to pass the bar. That's right, so don't mess with me, son. I'm a bottom. I really didn't need to know that. Not what you're thinking, Eddie. Amongst bruisers, a bottom is a hardy fellow who can take a good beating. So I guess in a way, it is what you're thinking. All right, what do you want?
Okay.
I'll be a sneaksby snags having snaffler. Yeah, I got that part, so which is it? Are you killing me or looking for a snail
what's the
wig?
difference?
Preferably a nice powdered one with the little ponytails. I don't have any wigs. Oh. Well, we'll be taking your shoes then. Fine. And do you have any tape?
Yeah, Hamzer.
Was
Thanks
that
for the
even
sub.
invented? Surviving
Tape.
that snaffler encounter, you continue your journey to deliver
Dang,
your
people
gin
really
as you
like
clear yet
alcohol.
more open wounds from shards of glass and your newly barefoot grippers. But not to worry, these cobblestones are covered in piss that's at least 20% ethanol, so the only thing you're going to be infected with is shame. As you finally approach him, the wild-eyed alcoholic shoots to his feet, shaking more than an angry dad with Parkinson's. Bloody hell! You really milked the pigeon with this one. I assure you I did no such thing. To milk the pigeon just means to endeavor at impossibilities. He's saying you really pulled off something challenging.
Why do all these sound so
really had to
weird?
Slurp the pigeon
I
milk
guess
to
you
get
just
this.
intentionally
Not really
pick the
way
ones
it's
that
used, but I
sound
like
weird.
The spirit. You're a bit of a clunch. I like that. Listen, Colt, what say you and me go around back and suck the monkey till we're shitting through our teeth? Whoa, alright buddy, I knew people were weird, but this is getting like VR chat weird. Fret not, Eddie. Remember the rule of thumb when talking to the English. When
Never
in doubt,
play
they're
VR
talking
chat,
about
guys.
alcohol. To
Never
suck the
play
monkey
it.
was actually the practice of secretly sucking liquor out of a cask or barrel with a straw, an activity so comically stupid that calling it something you could mistake for a Zootopia fanfic was considered appropriate. And while the Brits may have reached
Okay.
Looney Tunes
Ew.
levels of alcoholic wackiness, the same couldn't be
You'll
said
play
for their
thanks to the
bodily
Prime.
resilience, as newspapers reported numerous cases of people dying from this stunt. I would say that'd be a hilarious thing to see written on a tombstone, but anyone slurping an 8,747-ounce big gulp of ethanol probably doesn't have the kind of support structure that care about a proper burial. So, Eddie, what this guy actually said was, you're a bit of an awkward fellow. Listen, man, how about we both go suck liquor from caskets with straws until we puke out of our mouths? I think I'll actually pass this time. Ah, no worries. How about we go fist the cow instead? Great, what's this? Chug cow milk mixed with gin or
Fist the
something?
cow?
Oh no, that's not an idiom. Adding yet another tally to your daily trauma quota, you barge
Well,
back into the
I
pub
assume that
not
one
only
was
to get
real.
clear of that frig pig, but to get clear yourself. And as luck would have it, you spot a woman holding an extra pair of men's shoes, undoubtedly taken off the feet of a womblety cropped Nick Ninny. As cool as hobbits are, it's probably best to get them paws covered, so you approach the lass to explain your situation. Hello, miss, how do you do? Another master of the wardrobe, are we? Oh, you're far too kind. No, she's not, Eddie. That wasn't a compliment. Come on, you're literally covered in puke. A master of the wardrobe was someone so desperate for a drink that they pawned their own clothes to pay for it. Oh, no. You see, I needed to bring some
being an
lightning to this
alcoholic sounds
drunkard
like a
outside, and
bitch.
after getting caught up in a lunch and a run-in with a snaffler,
Guys,
where they have
never-
tongue enough for two sets
never
of
drink
teeth, don't
alcohol
you? Before
ever.
I compliment her sick, nasty
Never,
alien
ever.
reference, she's actually using
No
a phrase
fun.
for a talkative person, essentially saying one set of chompers isn't enough for someone who yaps as much as you do. A feeling I'm
Never.
sure many of us can relate to. Hey, this is my friend Keith, but be careful.
Says
he's
you.
tongue
I-
up for two
I
sets of
barely
teeth.
ever
Oh, is
drink.
that like some kind of idiot?
It's very rare.
Tongue could also be used in a quirky response to someone asking how old you were. Hey, this is my friend Kevin here. He's the senior manager at my hedge fund. Oh, nice to meet you. That's really impressive. How old are you? As old as my tongue and a little older than my teeth. What does that even mean? There were actually quite the plethora of phrases to describe a talkative person. For example, you also had the term prattle basket.
prattle
just a random basket. So essentially, at the end of the day, Eddie, this lady is asking you to wrap it up. Right, I was just hoping
Drinking
to
while
take your kicks.
painting stream.
Uh-oh. While you've been doing your best to adapt to the contemporary slang,
Finally
you've
getting the
inadvertently
paint and
injected some of
sip
your
that I
modern tongue
deserve.
as well. So you didn't actually ask her for her extra pair of shoes, you asked the lady for her breeches. Oi, I'll give you a kick in the guts. Gah! Oh hey, what do you know? You're just talking about Jim. You're not mad? Gods no. Every bloke in town's had a wild night with that one. She's one of my cousins. Psst, that's just slang for harlot or prostitute. So she's
One
not
of my
literally his
cousins,
cousin.
a
I
prostitute.
think. I mean, the phrase had to start somehow. Well, thanks, but do you guys drink anything other than gin? Why, it's rather rum. Well, you start to get excited at the prospect of finally another alcohol. Around this time, rum was actually also slang for something fine, good, or valuable. And it did a lot of heavy lifting amongst the wretched British population, as it served as an adjective to form additional slang phrases. For example, you had a rum nab, which was a good hat, or rum duke, meaning handsome chap. Make a rum bluffer to say jolly host, or rum bung for a full tote. A rum bugger was a valuable mutt, and rum prancer, a fine horse to strut. A rum doxy was a fine wench, rum fuddle, a good drink to quench, rum peepers were good-looking glasses, and a rum problem is what you have.
Oh.
Finishing your kick in the guts, you head to the bartender to freshen up your glass. You make a rum fuddle, my good man. I'll take another crank. Oh, you're pissing down me back. Another crank coming right up. I'm really hoping that just means I flattered him. Right on the money, Eddie. I'm getting the hang of this. There you go. Careful when quack swagging being off and off. I hate the British. Starting to feel a bit of wobble in your knees, not only from the amount of alcohol in your blood, but from the increasing lack thereof it, you decide to look around to mingle with some of the local patrons to fully immerse in the pub culture. You're beginning to get a little chilly because, again, you've pretty much got the blood pressure of a quacking cheat by now, so you head on over to a group of men near the open hearth. He told me yes over some scandal broth that while we went here to soak, he'd join us after some snaffling. You figure you just might know who they're talking about, but first, let's add some context. Yes is just a contraction of the word yesterday. A must use for any conversation.
I just remembered I slept
but be careful contracting too
1 hour
much
today.
because let's say you went to work after being sick with the cold the day before and someone asked you what happened, responding with yes infection
but I feel fine.
An HR meeting. Scandal broth along with prattle broth, chatter broth, and cat, you guessed it, lap, are all different ways to say tea, getting its definition being the beverage of choice for women who like to sit around gossiping, or as we would say today, spilling the tea. To soak was yet another phrase.
Yeah,
for
I did get a 4-hour nap yesterday.
However, again, I would express caution using this one today, for asking people to soak with you could land you in hot water depending on their cultural background, particularly when it comes to Mormons.
Soak in 4 months.
I think I might have run into that guy you're talking about. The group of men turn towards you as you make yourself known, and the gentleman who spoke previously responds, "Did you now? The one ram toad eater himself?" Toad eater? What does that mean? Exactly what it sounds like, Eddie. A toad eater was someone who was paid to eat live toads and was a must-see attraction at any Georgian-era fair. The idea was that since people believed toads to be poisonous, a mischievous charlatan could miraculously cure them in order to sell their snake oil medicine. And now, to prove the curative properties of my phantasmal medicine, Johnny here will swallow a live toad. Woo! Yeah!
Ooh. Leave him alone.
That's for my wife, you son of a bitch. Right. Well, one rammer you said? Yeah, I spoke with the Cole outside.
Yo, Andres, thank you for the prime.
Oh, so close, Eddie. Again, I appreciate the effort, but saying I spoke with the Cole means you robbed the man. Well, well, well. Gather round, boys. It looks like I have to settle this Cole by a stroke on his knob. Stroke? Don't get too excited, champ. He's actually saying he's gonna punch you in the head. Yeah, and after that, I'll give you a blow in that jolly knob. What is happening?
Why they all sound
just
weird?
Saying he's gonna beat your head in. Again, crucial not to misread here, as ideally we want to minimize your inevitable CTE. All three of us have a pull on that noddle of yours. I'll mill that canister so good you won't be able to walk in the morning. Okay, these guys have to be hearing themselves. To have a pull means to have the advantage on something. He's essentially saying, by outnumbering you,
chicken sandwich, spicy chicken sandwich, 15 months.
So in summary, now is an excellent time to start running.
Yeah.
Crossing sticky floors, waving bye to whores, and sprinting out the doors, you're once again weaving your way through the London slums. Running through all these streets and alleys, you're really starting to get to see the full glory of the great power that was 18th century England. So as you approach the top of a hill, you figure now would be an excellent time to take in the first-hand views of Georgian London.
We should just take slang away from British people.
Look. Ah, what beauty. This magnificent architecture is what they refer to as
like
the
how they call
Revolution,
French fries chips.
or as we say today,
unforgivable.
An animation time saver. Rounding a corner, you finally catch some luck as you run into a constable. Oh, thank God. Sir, I'd like to make a report. I'm being chased down by some men from a pub back there, and I really had to heave my way out of there. Heave, you say? That's right. Right then, come now, son. I've got some ruffles for you. You're gonna get to polish the king's iron with your eyebrows. Now, you figure this could mean a few things.
But you're British.
Maybe he's inviting you to become a specialized
Maybe.
worker in the royal court, literally polishing the king's
I'm not
iron.
full British.
Or perhaps they're asking you to jack him off. Either way, you suppose if you're gonna be hard at work for nobility, the potential reward far outweighs any downsides, even if that means sweat won't be the only bodily fluid you're drenched in. Okay, sounds good. But when you say ruffles, are you talking about like the tasty treat? Oh, the spicy treat. No, Eddie. When you told him you heaved your way out of the pub, you actually said you robbed the place. And to polish the king's iron with one's eyebrows actually was a saying for looking out of prison windows. You're very much so under arrest. What? No, this is a mistake. You know, I reckon it's your execution day as well. What? No, this is absurd. Help me, Godbird. Oh, flattery will get you everywhere, Eddie. But it doesn't literally mean you're being executed. It just means you need to be washed. You are absolutely painted in people's DNA. After all. Say, aren't you the bloke that verbally assaulted Mrs. Locke earlier? Right then, I'm taking you in and you'll go up a ladder to bed. Okay, that one does mean execution. Please, save me! Take me back to Atlanta! Oh, sure thing. What? You could have done that.
He's free.
The whole time? Well, I could have, but what kind of teacher would I be if I did? An ethical one? Oh, please. I never took ethics class. Ugh, I feel weak. So, Eddie, now that you got to soak in all the grime and culture, the people and customs, and the pubs and booze of 18th century London, how about it? Feeling ready to wag that silver tongue with a whole new palette of colorful slang?
All you American fat asses are British.
Can't let him bend down next time. It messes up your aim. Good
Not all Americans
tomorrow?
are British.
Wait, excellent. Obsolete slang. 12 out of 10 stars.
True, though. Oh man, that one was a bit chaotic, hard to follow. I do like the Blue Jay historical videos, though. Okay, anyway.